Good morning, everybody. This is Deborah. Good afternoon, good evening. It depends, I guess, when you're watching this. It's very dull and rainy today, so I've got the lights on, so there's going to be a little bit of shadow on the video. So today I'm going to be making something with a manila folder that I've got here, and then I've just gathered my supplies. And my thought was that I wanted to make something with a sewing theme, because I love mannequins and I've got lots of bits and bobs that have mannequins on them. So let's go, shall we? So the first step in the process that I'm using is to cut the file folder down. So I've trimmed the bottom piece off. I'm actually going to use that piece, and then I've trimmed a chunk off the side as well, because I just wanted something that was a little bit more compact. And I'm going to grunge it up. Now I could tea dye or coffee dye this, but I'm just not a great fan of that. So instead of that, I'm going to use some distress oxides. I've got pumice stone, shabby shutters, gathered twigs and weathered wood. You know, I can't do anything that doesn't have green in it, because it's, you know, like my colour. So I'm just going to start by laying down a little bit of this onto the messy mat, which you can see is super messy. Make sure when you lay these down that you're not cross-contaminating them, because they will actually, you don't want to get the ink from one pad onto the ink from another pad. Now I'm going to hit that with some water. And hopefully I'm going to get quite a nice look to it. So I'm going to start with this one, because if it doesn't work I can always flip it over and use the tab on this side. That's my thought. I haven't really done this with a file folder before. Okay, just loving that beautiful pumice stone. It's lovely. Look at that. I've got really nice greys and things in there. I'm just mopping up what's on my mat, seeing what I get. A lot of this is going to be covered, so it's really just to start that base layer. And better off if you dab it rather than drag it. If you drag it, you get those drag lines, and I just did that and I shouldn't have. Okay. Now I'm going to take my, where is it? My tool, which is quite dirty, never mind, and I'm going to put some browns around the edges to age it up a bit. Again, it's still a little bit damp. That's okay, we'll dry it off in a moment. And the same for this one, just a bit of, and you probably won't see a lot of this. And that's going to sit like that. So I'm going to put the back one aside for now, and I'm going to decorate the front one. And I've got a number of items which you probably saw on the table before to use to decorate that. I've got this old end of a pianola roll, which is lovely, so I could use a piece of that. I've also got bits of old tissue, so these came out of this book here, which is an Australian Home Journal from 1947, pages from that. So this is what you get in the home journals, the old Australian home journals. You've got your patterns and they're stamped, so you'll have a pocket like that if the ones you find still have this in it. I've been lucky that most of the ones that I've recently found have these pockets in it, because this is really lovely. April 1st, 1947. So I'm definitely going to make that part of the feature of this thing here, and I'm going to use the old tissues as some background papers. I also have a couple of things I've been playing with, where I've got these new Tim Holtz stamps. Or they're old, but they're the Inventor set, and they come with the mannequins and the scissors. And I've got some tags that I made. So ages ago I made some tags, and I pulled a couple of those out because I thought I might be able to use those. And I also have this old vintage, it's very old, it's an old piece of tape from a carpenter's tape measure. And I've got quite a few of these. Actually, I have them on display in my craft room, but this one here I've actually cut apart and I've been using it. So I've got a few other bits and bobs. Oh, I have to show you. I've got this beautiful piece of vintage linen. So I've got a number of these. These are offcuts from, I bought them years ago in Melbourne, and they're offcuts from making the vintage, the pillowcases, which are now vintage, and the sheets. So they're French linen, and they're just beautiful. So I've got a number of bits of that. So I wanted to use that. I've got some buttons and some other bits and bobs. Okay, let's stop with the chit chat and get started. So I'm going to start by laying down some of this old tissue. It seems a shame to tear it, doesn't it? But I really want to get a nice finish on my file folder, so I'm going to lay that down. And I'm going to keep the curve. See, that's the curve from the neckline. Looks like a neckline. Yes, and here's the sleeve hole as well. I'm going to try and keep some of these pieces visible in my piece. Okay. I'm not really worried about sticking glue everywhere. I'm sure that as I go through, it'll come together. That's a bit crinkled, but I don't mind that. But let's get some of these here. And these are some pages from the home journal. I'm going to cut some of these out. You could purchase these magazines, and then not only did you get, all of the stories, it was a bit sort of, I guess, like a woman's weekly or a woman's day. So you got all the stories, but you also got the pattern. So if you're a home sewer, you could sew things. Look at that. I might actually cut that girl out. And so I guess it was pretty good value. And so it showed you in the magazine, which is what this is, it showed you how to lay out the pattern, and it even had a picture of the dress. So it was, I guess, I don't know how much, I think it was only about 2 shillings or something, although that might have been a lot of money at the time. I really don't know. But I want my lady sort of sitting maybe up here near the top. And then I've got the pattern part of her. I'm just going to tear that. Sometimes it pains me when I have to tear things like a pattern layout, just because I'm a sewer, but I just need to tear it. I can't be fussing around worrying about it, can I? No. I'm repurposing it and I'm giving it a new life. That's my defence. Jersey one there. Got a bit of fluff there. And see if I can find another one. some of it is very worn, as you can see. I'm going to put it down on the bottom here. I didn't end up putting this down. I think I'm going to save this for another file folder. So I've got quite a few of them, so I wanted to kind of make them up. And this one here is just going to cut down. So this is just the stamp Tim Holtz. I'm not sure which inventor set it is. And I've just only recently bought it. I know it's been out for a long time, so it's one of the early inventor sets. Get some, let's maybe stick that here. And I'm going to cut that off. So I'm just going to see where it's going to cut off. Let it cut off. I'm going to put that here. Just trim that up a little bit better than what I did when I hacked at it. Put that along here. Okay, so I can put some tape down on it. So yes, I hope you're crafting along with me today and you're getting some inspiration to actually do something. And, oh, didn't. Notoriously bad at remembering to ink all of the edges when I've cut something. Lining that up there so I can still see the red mannequins underneath, and that I've got a bit of thing going there now. I've also got this one, which I'm not sure if that's a little bit too big. And I had a couple of others. I was going to try and put some botanicals in, but honestly, I don't think that's going to be very good. So I'm not going to do that. And I got this tag out, but that is way too big, so she'll have to wait for another time. And where's my linen? So I might grab this. These are the papers that I cut up before. And scrunch it, and I'm going to make a little thing for under here. So I'm going to use that as the base. So this is just a little embellishment that I want to put here. Little sewing themed embellishment. And what else have I got? Oh, some of my linen. Just cutting a piece of that linen off in, you know, an approximate sort of square thing. Probably want a bit of something else on there. I've got this sort of pile of lace on a roll. I thought maybe a bit of lace on top of that might look quite cute. Cut a piece of this. browns, bit of linen, bit of lace. It's going to go down here. Yeah, I'm not loving that. Let's see. You can't tear linen, it's too. Maybe I could have torn it the other way, but I sort of want the edges a bit more raggedy. It's quality linen, this. It's not going to tear for me. I'm going to get rid of that bit. Maybe that's the problem. And then I'm just put this little tiny bit of lace here. And I've got a little button. Yeah. So I think the problem is the top of this. The square is bothering me. That's better. I think that's coming together reasonably well. I think what it's missing, it needs something to kind of lift it. Like this bit here is a bit flat, but you don't want to cover up too much of the ladies. And see what else I've got in the way of things. I've pulled a couple more things out of my stash because I wasn't, you know, happy with what was around me. So rather than try and struggle and think, how can I use that? I thought I'd just get some more inspiration. And I've pulled out these cotton rails. These are collections. I don't know if you can still get these. They're very old. And they're a little, you know, you can wind them cotton or some lace or whatever on them. And also my little mannequin things, which are also from collections. This is stuff that I had in my shop, but it's been many years since I shut the shop. It's 10 years this year since I shut the shop. And so I thought I might try and use some of these on here. And the other thing I've got is some little stick pins. I'm back on the messy mat, and I'm just going to put some Distress Oxide on the outside of these little mannequin pieces and hit that. Look at that. See? That's the Distress Oxide in action. Actually creating that gorgeous sort of mottled effect. It's doing it again. Look at that. Oh, that's lovely. It's very vintagey. I'll just do this one while I'm at it. Why not? I love watching that happen. And this is an old Judikins stamp called Treasure Cubes, and it's got 4 different stamps on it. So as you can see, it's well used, and I probably used it before on a video because I think it's just really nice to create this sort of different effect. And you can see it's really fading in there, but it's still changed the look of them a little bit more down the bottom here. I could have done them with a black. They're still a bit damp too, so the Distress Oxide is sort of, you know, fading out a little bit in them. I'm using a bit of foam tape on this one here so that it's a little bit raised, and what this also does is it gives me, if I take half my hairs in there, it gives me somewhere to stick the pins in. And now I'm thinking that maybe I'll do some buttons down, but that one's too big, so I'll have to get some baby ones. And I've got this other little button here as well. I thought I might stick him on just to, you know, keep that button theme going, to create a bit of interest. Maybe I'll put it up there. And I think the only thing left to do is to put something on this tab here, so that, you know, when you put things in your little file folder, you've got a name on it. Just grab a stamp. I think a stamp's probably the best way to go? I'm just trying to think. Oh, let's see what we've got here. Maybe I can use a piece of the home journal and just hand tear it. And then I'd have the date as well if I put this up here. I think that would look quite cool. Yeah, okay. Go back to my glue. Put this here. I do want to make sure I get that date in. There you go, that's it. Finished. I was hoping I'd finish something today. It's been a little while since I've done any crafting for me, and I've enjoyed that. So I hope that you've enjoyed it as well, and if you have, can you give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment, subscribe to my channel, or just enjoy what I'm doing. This is Deborah. Until next time, cheers.